Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oxford School of Drama 3-year course Q&A. I'm Ruby. I do the marketing and comms for the school. Kirsty's here. She's the head of courses at the school. Chloe, who graduated from the 3-year course last year, and Nojan, who is in his 2nd year of the 3-year course. So we'd like you to ask us any questions about the course using the Q&A function, not the chat function. The Q&A function is a bit easier to manage. Our admissions administrator is on here with her camera off, and she can type out any answers to any admissions or funding questions you have, and then we'll just cover the course content ones. You're welcome to raise your hand using the raise your hand function, and we'll unmute you and you can ask questions out loud, but also you can type out any questions into the Q&A function. So if you guys want to start, go ahead asking some questions and we'll get to those. I'm going to start off with one that we had from an email, which is about somebody who's done a university course before this. Would the 3-year course be for them?
Hi, I'll start. Yeah, I mean, I think that the 3-year training course is just a really comprehensive training in a vocational course that sets you up to be a professional actor. And you only really get to train once, and if you have the time and can commit to the 3-year course, then it's a fantastic training. Chloe or Nojan, had you any thoughts about that?
Well, I went to university before I came and did the 3-year course, and it didn't put me at a disadvantage at all. If anything, it gave me something to draw upon in the course, and yeah, it wouldn't put you at a disadvantage at all. I think, yeah, go for it.
I agree. I did a university course as well, a 3-year course, and after that, I'm on another 3-year course. I think it's beneficial actually, rather than it doesn't really hinder me at all.
Great. So this question is about the course during lockdown. Just wondering what kind of projects you've been doing on your course during lockdown.
Nojan, why don't you shoot, and then I'll if I've got anything to add at the end.
Sure. Well, we've been using lockdown as an opportunity to, make the most of working from home, because as an actor, you will end up mostly working from home or finding your own space to work in. You won't necessarily have a studio to go and work in. So it's been pretty useful. For example, radio projects, that's been pretty useful right now, because we're acting just using our voice, and if things continue like this, voice acting and radio's going to be massive. So it's going to continue to grow, especially with things like Audible and things like that in the future. So yeah, radio is one of the projects that I've been working on, a restoration piece as well, which we are yet to start.
And just to say that we were able to deliver a certain amount online, but actually because we have we have a site that lends itself to face-to-face work despite COVID restrictions, because we have outdoor space and all our studios are sort of separate from each other with ventilation. We've been able to hold 80% of our training over to face-to-face all the way through this academic year. And so we pick up the face-to-face training again in March and carry it through into July for this year.
Great. Could you tell us a bit more about the 2nd year Shakespeare project and what you do within that?
Good question. All right, Chloe's done
I've done it.
And Nojan
to do it. Yeah. Okay, I'll go. So when I did it, and it is subject to change because every year is kind of adapts with the year group, but we did Two Gents of Verona, and it was an outdoor Shakespeare project. We got an external director come in, cast the project, and then we just went away with rehearsals for a couple of weeks. We did it at the school, and then we toured it to different places around Oxford, and it was a really liberating experience because that was the first time that I'd ever done a Shakespeare play and done it outside. It's done in the summer, so and it's the last project you do in second year, and the third years have left by then, so you're it's almost like a little, I don't know, like a graduation into third year type moment. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think it unlocked something for a lot of people in how liberating it was and being able to perform. And it's the first project that we got friends and family to come and see as well. So yeah.
Great. It has a great ensemble feel because it's outdoors and there's music involved and sometimes singing involved as well. It's as Chloe said, it's kind of quite a liberating end of second year project. Lots of fun, I think.
Great. Is the aim to resume face-to-face teaching for the next academic year in September, or is it too early to tell? Which kind of leads on from what you were saying earlier, Kirsty.
Yeah, I mean, that is the aim. Our term will start end of September, beginning of October, as it normally does, and that will, unless things radically change in the country, which we are really not expecting, that will definitely be face-to-face training. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, a bit of a big question here. What do you want to see in auditions, and what do you not want to see? Maybe you can't say everything, but
well, I'll start and then I'll hand over to Chloe as well, because Chloe is on our audition panel as well. So I think we want to see you, the sort of, I think what we primarily want to see is the genuine you, and for you to sort of relax a bit and to, share yourself. And obviously there's time within auditions to talk to the panel members, but I think that you show yourself and share something of yourself through your work as well. So I think my answer would be pick material that you connect with, and then trust in yourself as you share that story.
Yeah, I agree. I think I enjoy watching people who take risks. And I know it might sound a bit cliche, but I mean, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. We're here to support you. We really want to see you. And sometimes we redirect you, and we just want to see you, do something different. And don't be afraid to do something different. Because once you do get onto the course, you'll be confronted with that challenge every day of taking risks, failing, and then doing it again, and maybe succeeding, maybe failing again, but every time trying something new and not being afraid to try something new. So yeah.
Great. And there are a couple of questions here about the final recall. Firstly, sort of how it's structured. Is it quite one-to-one, or is it more class-based? And I suppose, Kirsty, maybe you can talk about if that might be different this year, but also if any of you have any advice for the final recall.
Yeah, so the final recall is going to be in person rather than on Zoom, and the majority of that is one-to-one. So it's an opportunity, not only through your work, but through having a chat with the interview panel that will be at final recall, to relax and be yourself, and talk about yourself as an actor, and also your ambitions. There will probably be a group element, and we think that's important, even though this time we'd have to work with social distancing. Obviously you're still able to engage with other people in the space. Advice for the final round of auditioning, guys, what do you think?
Hi, Jean.
Oh, okay. Well, I know it sounds cliche, just be yourself, because if the panelists will know what they're looking for. Just offer yourself and be honest as possible. You're going to be nervous, just kind of embrace it and you use it. I'm still learning how to use my nerves, but yeah, That's all I can. I haven't got that many pieces of gems.
Yeah,
Great.
that's it really. Same.
Thank you. I'm currently in my final year of a BA acting course at university, which isn't as intense as drama school and doesn't have many industry links, such as a showcase. Would doing the 3-year course be worth it if I've had training at university?
I mean, I think we sort of touched on that with that first question. I mean, I think, you know, a 3-year course is brilliant. It's a really great time to explore yourself as an actor, also your process, your interests, to get ready for the profession. But if you feel that you're ready for a 1-year course and ready to enter the industry after 1 intensive year of training, then you could consider that as well. When you are seen by the panel at audition, even if you've put 1 year or 3, they will consider you for the other course as well, because obviously it's really important that we take people onto the right course for them.
And that actually leads on to another question for Chloe and Nojan. Did either of you apply specifically for the 1-year course as well as the 3-year course? And if so, how did you decide which was the one for you?
I applied, I think, for the 1-year course, and it wasn't until my final recall I actually had our former principal George Peck was in it with someone who you might meet at the moment, David Sidley, and you know they called me back in and asked me why I you know went for the 1 year, and I kind of explained I'd just done a degree and I was, you know, apprehensive about the timing of the course and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do another 3-year course. And, you know, we just had a discussion, an honest discussion about what it was that I was trying to achieve by the end of my training. And if I felt like I could honestly achieve that in a year or 3 years, and to kind of forget about the idea of me being too old or it would take too long and just think about what it is that I want. And I left that discussion thinking the 3-year course is probably better for me. And then I got an offer for the 3-year. So, yeah.
Great. Nojan?
Yeah, same here, basically. Same here. I was apprehensive about the time of the 3 years, but I had a conversation with George and David, and I didn't think 1 year was enough training for me personally. I needed the 3 years. Wow.
Great. So another similar question to that, somebody's asked, as a committed mature actor with disabilities, they'd benefit much more to the 3-year course as they'd benefit from learning over the 3 years. And does Oxford School of Drama have a specific quota of spaces for mature actors on the 3-year course? And just to add on to that, another question, what is the age range typically like on the 3-year course?
We don't have a quota, but we consider equally everybody who applies. And even though the age range probably spans, you know, the 20s, more people in their 20s, of course there are sometimes older people on the course. So I think again, it's really just about applying, you know, auditioning, and then having conversation about what would best suit you in your training.
Nice. How long do you think COVID will affect your training? Hard question.
Well, I mean, it's difficult. I think training, I think COVID has done, you know, it's been disruptive, there's no doubt about that, but it's disrupted the world, it's disrupted the industry. And so everybody's kind of moved together with that. So Chloe, coming out of drama school, did a job that, you know, that was a remote job. She was just talking a moment ago about how she had to get her head around all the technology. So, you know, as I said, our training, we've held it to 80% face-to-face. But I think there are things that have come out of this period that you know, everybody may carry into the future. You know, being able to do radio from your home is really common in the industry now. So lots of actors have little recording booths set up in their own houses. So, you know, things kind of change and evolve. And of course, COVID has been an influence in that. But that doesn't mean that face-to-face training is not going to, you know, be the thing of the future. Of course it is. Guys, are there any kind of thoughts about that? Sort of thinking ahead into the future as well?
I think that this time has really pushed people to try and find more ways to be creative. And I think when things resume, the people who have found ways to be creative will be able to make money and be able to really showcase those ways. So I think it's an advantage, and the training hopefully will facilitate some of what has been learnt over the past year. Like digital theatre now is sort of a thing, and it's a new thing that not many people knew what to do. Like, you know, the job that I did, I had no idea. I wasn't trained for that. But now I can do it, and I'm confident in doing it. And I think it's something that the school will have to adapt and understand, and it will grow with the school in the next phase, if that makes sense at all.
Great.
What is the most important aspect of training the Oxford School of Drama would like the actors to take away after they graduate?
I think I'm going to let the other two answer that.
This is a test. This is a test.
What do you think?
I think I think the school ultimately offers us a range of tools, and when we leave the industry, we'll be confident enough to use these tools. I honestly feel way more confident than I did a year and a half ago, and I know I'll feel more confident in another year and a half. So yeah, I think it's just the confidence in yourself, and it gives you the chance to find your own process. And so by the end of it, you have the self-belief.
Yeah, I agree. I think also learning how to work with people, and understanding what your role is in an ensemble, and really understanding what that means. It's not like a normal job. Like, you're all kind of really interdependent. You're like an organism, and you know, you kind of grow together and move together, but you all have a different job. And it sounds really easy, but there are highs, there are lows, and it's the same in the industry. But so yeah, that was probably the most valuable thing I learned on the course.
Right.
We're all sort of committed to being to truth. We're all committed to finding truthful connection and truthful performances, and to, you know, giving life to the stories that we're really interested in. You know, there's a kind of collective feeling of being courageous about sort of having a go at things as an artist, and as Chloe was saying earlier about it being all right to fail as you explore.
Great. Hello, is it common for people to be accepted first year of auditioning Oxford School of Drama for the 3-year course? For example, straight out sixth form at 18 years old. I've also looked at the 1-year foundation course. Is that more realistic? Obviously, it's difficult to talk specifics, but.
Well, I'd say it's mixed. It is mixed. Sometimes people take a couple of years to get into drama school, and the foundation course can be a really fantastic experience, which takes you through a lot of the fundamentals that you'd explore on the 3-year course, but really gives you time to discover if that's what you really want to do, but also to kind of get ready for that. So it's a really good option. And again, if you apply for 3-year, but the panel think you're not quite ready, and they want to offer you foundation course, and they will talk to you about that if you're and find out if you're interested. But it's a really mixed bag in terms of whether people are offered when they're 18 or 20, or it depends really on the individual.
Great. What is the transition like from first to second year?
Do you want to go? It's a transition. It's definitely a step up. No, Jan, you're in your second year now, so how do you feel?
I feel like in the the first year, it's the first year, so a lot of it's new and you're still getting used to it. In the second year, I think the leash is taken off a bit and you're left to your own devices a bit more. Yeah. So that's what I felt so far. There's still new things that you're learning in the second year. Like there's classes that we didn't have in the first year. Still learning a lot more, but I'm left more to my own devices. And I think, just to give me an opportunity to find my own process. Like a lot of the tools that we use now, I learned in the first year, and I'm still learning more and like honing the ones that I learned in the first year. But yeah, it is with lockdown. It's obviously a bit different to Chloe's experience, but I do feel it is a bit more kind of year-round work.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you.
I think the second year is probably a time that you grapple with things the most. It's sort of the first year you're trying stuff, you're getting used to it, you're really learning a lot, and then as Lojan said, it's about kind of exploring all of that for yourself, and that is that's a real process, and sometimes that's difficult, and I think struggle is an inevitable part of learning, and that's good. That's kind of good in a way. You sort of learn a lot by trying things, it not turning out the way you expected, so you change your process a little bit and have another go. That's Chloe was describing it earlier, that process of it's really kind of experimenting, really.
Are there support systems in place for mental health and other pastoral issues?
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's an ever evolving thing because it needs to be constantly reviewed. Yes, we have a link up with the Oxford Therapy Centre, and I would say that that's a really good support for the students. Within the school, we have people who are mental health first aiders, but we also have an open door policy. So, you can actually come to any member of staff and talk to a member of staff, and they will really then try and, help you take the right route in order to be supported, whether that might be professional or, through your own support system. But it is something that we review, that we know we need to review, and keep listening to the student body in terms of, what steps to take in the future.
Great. Hi, I know the courses are very intensive, which is great, but is it possible for students to work on the side to pay for rent, etc.?
Yeah, it is possible. It's different for everyone. Some people find it distracting and quite difficult to maintain a job alongside the training, because the training does demand a lot from you. You'll be in school all day, and sometimes on the weekends, especially when you get to second year, like when things start to really pick up, and third year when you've got your showcase, and so some people do struggle to maintain a job. But that being said, many people do, and I think some people even find it quite liberating to be able to go and work at the pub for an afternoon, and not have to think about acting for a few hours. Yeah.
Great. Are there any schemes or projects for after graduation that can help graduates in the industry?
Yeah, Yes, there are. So we have a scheme that runs every 2 years, which graduates can pitch to be supported financially with a project that they are trying to launch. Usually they've done a certain amount of the groundwork. It's called the New Initiatives Fund. And part of that is financial support and part of it is guidance. So there's a panel that exist on the New Initiatives Fund, and that might include a theatre producer or a filmmaker or something like that. So yes, there are, and I think increasingly so. There are other. We were just talking about, Claire and I were talking about Open Door Elevate, which is a scheme that is not being run by us, but we are able to suggest actors into it, which is a platform for helping young actors that are just graduating into the industry. So, it's an important thing, obviously, that the school has ways and means of helping graduates, but also that the industry does as well. And we are, in conversation and sort of lobbying theatres in the industry to increasingly support young actors into work.
And sometimes random things crop up, like the Evening Standard Future Theatre Fund, which I just went up for, and that kind of came out of nowhere. And even though it was for, 2020 grads who maybe didn't get on so well because of the pandemic, things like that do happen. Like there is people watching the industry and graduates in particular and trying to help where they can,
Great, thank you. A couple of questions here about how long the days are, how many contact hours, and whether it's a 5-day week.
It is a 5-day week, yes. Maybe I'll just describe the day a little bit. So the mornings will always be classes. So the classes may be voice or movement or, some other specialism. And then often acting classes or rehearsals are throughout the afternoon. So it's a full day and it's contact time throughout, really. Also, because we're small, we're able to run quite a substantial tutorial system. So you have one-to-one tutorials with your acting movement and singing tutors. That you do have Monday morning off. So Monday morning is a time to make appointments and go to the dentist and things like that. But yeah, contact hours, it's fairly intense, isn't it?
Yeah. And you also can stay behind Tuesday evenings. Can stay behind whenever really, but Tuesday evenings was kind of like a rehearsal time for us anyway. I don't know about you, but whenever we had a play, we were always back Tuesday evenings.
And Tuesday late bus.
Yeah, Tuesday late bus, sometimes a Saturday. Yeah.
Cool. There are a couple of questions about what attracted both of you to Oxford School of Drama compared to other schools and how you knew this school was the right one for you.
Go? I'll go on. To be honest, I wanted to stay in London because I thought it'd be easier. But I came to Oxford and something about being in the middle of nowhere and only focusing on acting and something about the farm just made me want to stay. It sounds cheesy, but I don't know. I just went there and I just really liked it. It's the only place that I could picture myself actually putting my head down and working hard with no distraction. So it all worked out for the best, I think. It's different for each person though, but I felt like the one for me.
Yeah, I agree. All of the schools I went to, bar Oxford, were in London, and I wanted to stay closer to home, so I was thinking Oxford is a bit out there, probably won't go there. And then I got there and I was like, oh, it's really pretty actually, and everyone was really nice, and I made friends on my first day, not my first day, in my audition, and I wasn't expecting that. And there was something nice about meeting the principal at my audition. I don't know, it just it felt good to be acknowledged that way before I'd even got a place. And to have an honest discussion with him about what I want to do and where I want to be. You know, there was something really enticing about that, because at the other schools I felt almost like a number. So and that's something that happens throughout the course, like everyone will know you. You know, the school is small, so you're never just kind of left alone. You're never forgotten. You know, you're part of a community, and you're valued as part of that community as well. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. There are a few questions here, Kirsty, about how quickly you get work after the course, which I know is quite a difficult question to put a number on, but I wonder if you could just speak to that a bit about securing agents and how that works and the experiences of you, Chloe. Well, of you, Chloe, yeah.
So shall I start? Or yes. Well, I mean, it is, of course, it's really varied, and in a way that's a great thing, because that means that people are getting all different kinds of work. So, you know, Chloe was talking about sort of creativity being sort of spurred on by this sort of period of the industry going quite quiet during the pandemic. But I think our students have always been really productive in terms of making their own work, as well as waiting to be offered work or offered auditions. So the proportion of people that get an agent straight away out of drama school is between sort of 60 to 70% in most years. And of course, getting an agent doesn't mean you get work straight away. So again, you know, being an actor is partly about ploughing your own field and making things happen for yourself as well. But I think the positive, really positive picture is that whether it happens immediately or whether it's a slightly longer burn, graduates find lots of different forms of employment. Nojan was waving.
I agree, and I also would like to add that it's been really helpful that the school have kind of set us up on this path to be able to create our own work, because the past year has been so turbulent. I was fortunate enough to get signed, but because everything is kind of so dry at the moment, not much has been coming through, and it's really hard to kind of stay optimistic when you're not getting much in. And one of the things that has really helped me is the ability to make my own work. I've kind of reached a point where I'm kind of tired of waiting for someone to present an opportunity that they think I'm right for, and I'm not even a year out technically yet, and I'm really trying to make my own stuff that I want to do and get that out there. And the school really do shape you into that sort of artist that can and will and is willing and brave enough to make their own work. So yeah.
Great. Kirsty, I wonder if you could talk a bit about the final London term.
Yeah, so for the 3-year course, the final term of the 3rd year is the London term, and we commission a piece of new writing for that term, and also run a kind of season of R&D, which means research and development. So and that involves directors or practitioners bringing work that they are working on professionally, that's in development for them, and working it with our graduates. So it's very much an experience which is, which an actor might find themselves in the industry, and of course it might lead to that project actually going ahead for that director or that writer. So the final term is a term when you sort of step away from lessons and step away from the school and go and work with professionals in the industry. We did, you know, Chloe did that. I mean, it was different because lots of the workshops and the R&D were run online, but still, actually, I saw a lot of the work that they made, and that sort of sense of creativity that she was talking about, and being a maker, being an artist, was definitely there. It's, you know, it's great to see the third years kind of liberated into using their own voices, but just also being really playful creatively, which was delightful.
If we were unsuccessful, what would you recommend doing in the year between applying again?
I mean, that's a good question. I think I think doing something you enjoy and something that's enriching in your life, if possible, would be good. You know, that might, for you, that might be alongside needing to work and earn money. I appreciate that. I think sometimes people think that they need to go and find sort of acting to do, and sometimes that's not necessary or not the right route, because I think that there's something about being ready for drama school that the panel are looking for as well. So it's not always necessarily about sharpening your acting skills, but I would definitely say an interest in what's being created, you know, what's being created in young theatre companies, or in new writers that are writing, new young writers that might have started writing for television. Of course, that's a really emerging thing at the moment, young creatives being picked up to write for telly, is actually really fantastic, because it means that new, fresh voices are kind of being heard that way. So I think a little bit of interest in what's going on, what's being made, what's being said is always invaluable. What do you think, guys?
I think that you should just, as you say, just do something, do things that you enjoy, do things you can speak about, you can talk about, and that you enjoy talking about, and that there's no experience that you can have in life that is detrimental to your craft, good or bad, because you can use all of them. And so if you're given a year to kind of, you know, because you've been unsuccessful, take that year and take it as time off to kind of just explore and do something that when you start your training you're not going to be able to do. Yeah, what do you reckon?
Find work, find a job. That's what I did.
The voice of reality.
Yeah. I think stay busy, keep the creative juices flowing, read as many plays as possible, or pretty much it.
Great. Is stage combat part of the course?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
First year.
Yeah, it's a kind of small part. It's a kind of small part of the curriculum, but it is in there.
It's one of the first things we do, right?
Yeah,
it's fun.
I think so.
Great. This is for Chloe and Nojan. How have you found the social life compares to at drama school compared to uni?
It's a small school. It's a small school. Small school. It's not like any other school I've seen or been to, so it's always going to be different. I think there's the social life, as in nightlife. Do you mean nightlife's not as large as other
cities?
Yeah, exactly. But it's as big as, you know. Use your imagination. You can do anything for as many house parties as you like. Once lockdown is over. Yeah.
I think the school is small enough that you make friends with like other year groups. It's not, you know, at university I only ever saw people that were ever in my in my year on my course, you know. And so because of how small the school is, you know, me and Nojan were friends, and he was first year and I was third year. And we had our little friendship group across like first to second year and third year, you know.
Now we've got a big Chloe-sized hole missing in the friendship group. It's that's one of the nice things about the school. Everyone's like so friendly. There is a real like a family vibe going on. Everyone's will look out for you, especially if you're a first year, which I really appreciated. Everyone came and just helped me feel comfortable and helped me just get over the initial nerves, especially Chloe, which I still haven't thanked you for.
It's fine. And we did Secret Santa. I don't know if you do that anymore, but we do Secret Santa every Christmas, and we have barbecues over the summer. So we have, you know, what Oxford lacks in the city in clubs, the school makes up for during the holidays. So yeah, so it's nice.
Do you get much film, screen, TV acting training?
We have this year. We've started the film. Well, I'm not sure. I think there's a larger focus on film. And we've got a new principal in called Ed Higgs, and his speciality is film. So I personally learned a lot about acting on the film set and what that entails, and how much you do on film, and how much you have to do prior to getting to the set, and the camera as well. Acting in front of a camera is a different ball game. So getting used to that is really useful.
I mean, of course, it's a really important ingredient on the course. Nojan's right. It's sort of getting used to the kind of environment being slightly different. Essentially, the kind of core things that you attend to as an actor are exactly the same. You know, that commitment to truth and to storytelling and to the world you're inhabiting and relationships and all of that work, that preparatory work that you do creatively as an actor. But of course, it's a story that's being kind of captured or shared in a different way, and so there's kind of getting used to both forms of that. Great.
So twofold question for Chloe and Nojan. What was your favorite thing about the course? What did you find the hardest part about the course?
That's a really unfair question. With maybe I should like
cover your ears.
And Nojan's still here as well. So. Speak freely.
Do you want to go first, Nojan? I don't know.
I don't know. Favorite thing, least favorite. There's a lot of favorite things, and there's a lot of least favorite things. I getting used to. I don't like being perceived. I don't like. I think the hardest thing was, and for me, was kind of the self work. It's a mind game. So once you can, I feel like once you defeat the mind game, once you complete that, then you can really offer what's unique to you. So each individual will offer something unique to them, but getting over yourself and getting over the nervousness and why you're nervous, things like that, that is something that I still deal with and struggle with and will continue to do. So that and like self-doubt, that's the hard part, but that's just a part of being an actor. I think, and
it fluctuates. It fluctuates throughout your career. You know, you change, your mind changes. You know, so yeah.
And the favorite thing, that's a long list. I could just go on and on, but just everything new that I'm learning. That's it.
The hardest bit for me was like getting to school on time, like the early mornings. And there's a school bus that you just need to get on the bus. Early mornings and like persevering, you know, the mind game thing, what you're saying, it's not just, for me, it wasn't just about self-doubt and confidence. It's also like when you get to an obstacle, when you're facing challenges, like not giving up, the terms don't seem that long when you look at them on a piece of paper, but they feel, when you get to like week 4, it can feel like, oh my gosh, there's just an uphill mountain and I'm never going to make it to the end of this. Or you're in the middle of a play. You know, we did The Crucible. That play, honestly, felt like 6 months of my life. It was so many words and things to do. And, you know, it was really hard to kind of trust that there is a light at the end of this, and to trust that we can do it. So yeah, perseverance. And honestly, like, one of the best things is my relationship with the tutors. I don't know, it really helped me more than I like. Now that I look back on the course, I'm really grateful for them, because they were there with me from the beginning, you know, and through all the ups and downs, the tears, the tantrums, the joyous moments, you know. And now I can, you know, email Kirsty and be like, hey, I just got a job. I'm like, you know, and she understands. She's happy for me, and, you know, I can share and have a relationship and a friendship with the people that I spent so much time with, and I'm grateful to.
Lovely. How are students supported to find acting jobs, roles, agents throughout and after attending Oxford? And also, if they want to get into the industry, would they be encouraged and allowed to attend auditions? I assume this question is whilst they're still a student at the school.
So I might sort of answer the beginning of that then. So no, when you're undertaking the training, your commitment is really to be here on the course, and you're not permitted to attend auditions and things. At the very end of the training, that obviously might alter. You know, sometimes people have you know, missed the last few weeks of the training or something because they have secured a job. And of course, you know, when somebody is about to enter the industry, you certainly don't, you know, stop that process happening. But it's really important. The training is the most rich and successful if you really just commit to it. What was the beginning of the question? Oh yeah, how are you supported? Well, there is kind of part of the curriculum called professional development, which is about learning about the industry and about, you know, not only what the different roles are within the industry, but also how you as an actor run your own business, you know, and what that requires in order to do that. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I mean, I think that, so Chloe talked a moment ago about other initiatives that are offered by the industry as well. And also you might talk, Chloe, a little bit about contact with other grads.
Yeah.
Babu, and, you know, I mean, Babu is a trustee as well, but.
Right. So yeah, in my 3rd year, I don't know how, well, it became from conversations that we had about, you know, the school, but yeah, the school is so small that it's really easy to make friends with grads that have, you know, that are working in the industry. And it was part of our professional development to find grads and to see how you would contact them if you wanted to reach out to them, invite them to things, create a relationship, networking, and that kind of thing. And also what you'll find is once you're in first year, people that were in 3rd year have now gone on to, you know, be on Netflix or, you know, be at the National or whatever. And so you really do make relationships that you kind of want to hold on to once you leave, and that they continue to support you once you have gone. Yeah, that's all really.
Nice. How would you recommend preparing for the recalls?
Preparing for a recall. Well, I mean, I think we've probably sort of covered it in a way. You know, I don't think you can sort of brush up on something other than to think about what you're interested in, you know, as an actor or a creator, or the the people in the industry, you know, whether it's young actors, young writers, you know, theatre companies. We talked a bit earlier about young, you know, quite a lot of young actors writing at the moment and writing for television as well. And so kind of investing in what switches you on and inspires you and thinking about that, I think is, you know, really useful thing to do before your, you know, final round trying to get into a place that's all about sort of being creative. But I wouldn't say that you have to try and, you know, prepare yourself to be sort of, you know, something other than you, really.
Mm.
Nice. Roughly how many people apply to the 3-year course each year, and can you talk about how many people to expect at the final recall?
Okay, yes, so usually our applications, and I'm probably going to talk about across all the courses, so we run a 3-year course, a 1-year course, and the foundation course, and so we would be looking to have between 1,000 and 1,300 or something like that sort of applications across all courses. And of course we take 18 on the 3-year, 19 on the 3-year, 19 on the 1-year, and about 36 into the foundation course. So it, you know, it can be really tough to get into drama school, and that's why people sometimes do, you know, come back another year and have another go. And I think we probably put, we probably put about 30%, 25 to 30% through into the recall, second recall process. There we go.
Great. Can you talk a little bit about the daily routine of an Oxford School of Drama student?
Yeah. Do you want to go? Do you want to go from bodycon onwards? You queuing for the microwave?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get a bus into school. Then you got a bodycon session. So every morning we work on our bodies, get ourselves in our bodies, do a stretching, and then we have, as Kirsty said, we have like voice or movement normally in the mornings, and then we have a 15-minute break. It's been so long since I've been to the farm. It's about a 15-minute break, and then we have another class, then we have lunch, and then we have our evening class or afternoon class, and then it's home time.
And it's home. The afternoon class is usually from like the end of first year onwards. It would probably be rehearsals for a play. Yeah.
Tutorials often happen in the afternoon as well, don't they?
Yeah, and in third year, you get to kind of tour around Oxford and do voice in different theatres and stuff, which was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think. You get to do singing as well, not just voice. I don't remember if you mentioned that. Yeah.
Film projects.
Film,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, the projects kind of every term there will be a theatre performance, but there's also likely to be another project like a mini tour or a film project or a radio project or something like that.
Animal studies project.
Yeah, and there's a time on the course where the students, it's in the third year, also direct themselves in a piece as well. So it, you know, it's quite varied in terms of what you're doing in the afternoons.
Mm.
Do you have an alumni network after graduation?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it sort of takes care of itself. So yeah, it's not an official one that the school runs, but there is the graduate network.
There's a Facebook page and stuff like that as well.
Do you have a lot of extra work to do in the evenings, for example, preparation for projects, or is it mostly contained within timetabled classes?
You've got to work in your own time, especially, well, quite a lot actually. Which, yeah, just the way it is. You don't want to fall behind, and there's a lot of work to do, but it's fun. Like, it's really enjoyable because just cool stuff. You don't really get to do this anywhere else. That's why you want to be an actor, right? Yeah, so it's a lot of work.
Great. Is there any dance included in the movement aspect of the course?
Yeah, I mean, there is, but in a way, we try to gear everything really towards being an actor. So of course an actor might need to be able to string a few steps together and have that, you know, as a skill, in the same way that, you know, being able to sing a few notes or do, you know, stage fight or do other things, ride a horse, you know, might be a skill that's on your CV. But it's really about sort of making movement your own and finding your own sort of what it is that you're expressing, whether it's through choreography or whether you're improvising or making movement yourself. So there's a kind of dance is an element of sort of material we use to explore, and you know, when we're allowed to make physical contact, we run contact impro classes and things like that as well.
Great. I've got one last question. Do you do any physical training on the course, such as HIIT or yoga, or is this something that students would do in their spare time?
We did yoga and HIIT. I don't know if you remember that, Kirsty. We went through like a term of doing HIIT with Kirsty, and that was excruciating. It was a lot of fun though, but yeah, you stay very physically fit during the course. There's no doubt about that.
Great, thank you. That's all we've got time for. If we didn't get to your question or you'd like to ask us privately, you can just send us an email at the school. Thanks Chloe and Nojan for joining us, and thanks Kirsty. See you all later.
Great.